All right. Hello, people. My stick out of the way where I marked my spot. I think I'm in perfect frame. This video, I want to talk to you guys about focus. And what I mean by that is within the actual session you're doing, within your actual calisthenics session, how much effort or attention are you actually giving it? Whether it's just like you're showing up to the session and you're just going through the motions and then kind of hoping for results out of that, or if you're actually properly trying to achieve within your sessions, right? And I kind of want to break down how you can achieve higher levels of focus as well. So first off, I started in a position maybe like 3 years ago, I was very unfocused on my sessions. This was when I was just trying to bring in routines or bring in structure to my training. Or I was really focusing on bringing in structure to my training. So copying other people's routines, copying what they're doing, and then just kind of relying on that to work, if you guys understand what I mean by that. And what this gave me was a sense of, okay, as long as I put this routine in, everything's going to work out. And I just need to show up to the session. Right? You get like loads of those motivational videos that like, just show up every single day, and you'll get like, show up. That is cool, right? But show up with intent is the more important point that I want to press on in this video. And I know a lot of you are like, yeah, I know I want to give more attention to my session. I want to put more effort into it, but I just don't really know how, or how do I boost that? Ooh, someone's injured. And I struggled with that too. I struggled to just do the actual, or like focus in my sessions. I struggled to make things count. I struggled to learn within my sessions. I just struggled to pay attention. I'd need to distract myself within my breaks instead of focusing on how I can improve within my next set or my next rep that I'm doing. I had to distract myself with music even within the sets that I was doing, right? Think about how silly that is I've got to have music plugged in to my ears on my actual sets that I'm training within the set, right? Instead of focusing on the feeling or coordination, it's music in my ears. Let me just hold this until I feel like I can't anymore. So what did I do to break away from this step? This all started 3 months ago, and I think you guys are going to get the trend. Everything starts 3 months ago with you shaking that faded day. But it was when I actually started to bring in a more kind of gamified approach to my training. I started to think, instead of focusing so hard on the structure and everything like that, let me actually build out a structure as I go. Let me actually just focus on what I want to achieve in today's session instead. And what this does is, because your goals are very far, it's almost impossible to focus on a session if it's not important. But if the goal is closer, what that actually does, it gets you into a zone. And that's where you want to be. You want to be in the zone when you're in your training. You want to get as close to that as possible. You want to feel every session that you're just there, you're just focused, you're on point. And you can only really achieve that when something is not too easy. Have I done it the other way? Yeah, not too easy, and it's also not too hard. It needs to hit that sweet spot where it's doable, it's challenging, it's enjoyable, as long as it's fun, right? That's where your sessions need to lie. And that's the big realization I had when it came to putting myself in the zone, right? And once you have something or a kind of goal within your session that isn't too far away, that's really achievable, as long as you put in enough work that you have to actually train for. It's like just out of reach, but you can obtain it, right? That really kind of mentally gets you to switch on. And from there, it's almost effortless. It's almost effortless zone. It's not like, and I want to give a disclaimer, guys, it's not like every session you're in the zone. It's not like every session you're pushing yourself to the max. Some sessions you have good sessions, some sessions are slightly worse, but you're moving your average focus up. You're a lot more focused across the board in all of your sessions, which is, honestly, it's been a life changer, a game changer for me specifically. So how would this look? How would extra focus look? As opposed to in your planche. I'll say in your planche, front lever, and then more kind of skilled movements, more kind of focused movements like the handstand. But first, let's go into the easier movements. I wouldn't say easier, but easier in terms of focus, right? So you got your planche, right? This is how this would look is if you're not focusing on your planche, you're just entering, however, and you're just trying to kick your legs up, you're holding the position, whatever attempt you're doing or whatever progression you're doing, whether that's like tuck, advanced tuck, straddle, full planche even, you're just holding it and then falling out, going through the motions. And there's no real intent in there, and there's no real challenge like I want to get to this time. Right? So what would the opposite look like that? What would the opposite look like if you actually had intent, if you actually had a focus? It would look like you actually prepping before you go into the skill, actually trying to feel the movement. This is what we call, I've forgotten the name, visualization. When we go into the movement, let me just stand up so I can kind of demonstrate it. I hope I'm still in frame. But when we go into the movement, when we're doing all of this like kind of nonsense, right? You see us doing this, kind of doing this like weird humping movements, right? We're visualizing, right? We're thinking, how do I actually protract better? Let me engage, let me feel myself, let me activate better so that when I go into the movement, it feels right. It feels exactly how I'm kind of engaging right now. That extra focus within the session will give you that kind of natural drive just to want to make every attempt count. And that's super important. For front lever, it may look like you, actually I'll keep on planche for now, because there was one more thing that I wanted to say. So that was the skill aspect of understanding it, and the strength aspect of having that extra or that goal that is just like a centimeter away or just a little bit further than what you know you've already been able to reach, right? That will drive you to keep holding. I'm sure maybe you guys have seen some of my holds, maybe you don't know me, you've never met me, that's fine, right? But if you see some of my holds, right, you can see I start off nice and strong, nice and protracted, then the protraction starts to fade, I'm leaning, but I'm holding on. I'm pretty sure you can see me, I'm shaking, I'm really pushing myself. And that's because I have a target to reach in terms of time. I really want to reach that. I'm really motivated within every single session that I'm doing to reach that bit of time or reach that certain amount of reps of the skill that I'm doing. This is the same for front lever. It's another strength movement. It doesn't have as much technicality as planche. There's not as much that you need to kind of engage with, or retraction is just a lot easier in the front lever, but it's still relatively the same. You visualize, you go in, you hold, and same process, right? Now, if we talk about handstands and balancing skills or one-arm handstand, whatever it is that you're doing, there is a lot less of a focus on strength, so a lot less of a focus on that time that you're getting, and way more of a focus on the strength aspect. Whereas the skills aspect, like front lever, the strength exercises, like your front lever, like your planche, they require more of the strength and then less of the skill. So it's strength here and then skill, a little bit of a section there. Handstand, balancing exercises, skill is all the way this window, strength this window. So when it comes to like those skills, because it is so much more heavier focus on the actual skill aspect, and skills are a lot harder to program and actually pay attention to, right? Some people can find it harder to program. I definitely find it harder to program or set things up so that there's a solid goal in front of the line, right? But that's all the more reason to just like really bring this in, really bring in boundaries for what you can and can't do, because with strength movement, you can gain strength in almost any position. You're not really going to gain too much strength specifically to what you want, but you'll still gain strength. With skill movements, if you mess up or if you train wrong, you've got a bad habit that you have to undo or unravel for however long that takes later. So you're not actually, it's not just that you're not progressing, it's that you're actually hurting your progression when you train badly with the skills. That's why you need restrictions, those boundaries, that game that gets you, that's challenging enough to get you in the zone and gets you to push for the right positions, right? So it's important that you don't reward yourself for the the bad sets where maybe, for example, if I'm doing shoulder taps and I come down, I land with a bend in my arms, that rep doesn't count. That's wasted effort. I want to make sure that I'm controlled when I'm doing these shoulder taps. I want to make sure that I'm doing things with intention. And that's kind of like the difference. That's what gets you to focus. Because if I'm going up for handstand, I'm just doing shoulder taps, bouncing, shoulder taps, bouncing. I can do that on and on. I'm going to be not learning anything. I'm going to be outside of that zone that we want to be in. And I guess that's the important distinction that you guys want to make with strength. You want to make sure that the goal is just right above what you've reached last time. It's achievable. You know it's achievable. You know you can get that few extra seconds. And with the skills, like, you also know it's achievable. You also know that you can balance. You have done this before, where you've tapped and then you've come down nice and controlled. Just as long as it's only for a certain amount of reps, like 4 reps or 6 reps, right? And then you build up the reps once you know that you can kind of set this up. Anyways, guys, I already do have like a system set up for strength and skills. Sorry, it's distracting me. I already do have a session, I'm losing my words. I already do have like a program set out for me in terms of like just building strength and then also building the handstand, the balance, right? Both of these are kind of game orientated. They're both set out to just push me that little bit further each session, right? To make sure that I don't lose the game, to make sure that I'm progressing, I'm getting a higher score in the game that I have. I have no idea if that fly flew into my hair. And that's already kind of completed, right? If you want, it's just completely up to you. There's a coaching link down in the description where I've kind of just laid out a form for you guys. You can fill it in and then we can kind of talk about how we can set this up for you alongside with all of the other coaching benefits, like checking up on your form, all the programming set out for you and set out in a way that it's just fun for you to kind of keep going forwards with. There's also, I don't know if it's going to be in this video, just letting you guys know, I also do have something that I want to kind of set up for you guys, which is a little Thursday or like every Friday. It's kind of like a form review group where I go through everyone kind of like forms in a Facebook group, and I can kind of set that up in a little video. I thought that would be very helpful for a lot of you guys, just like short checkups. I'm not going to be able to check up on everyone's within that group, but as long as someone's struggling with a similar issue, we can kind of check up, review, as well as build like a little community in there. I haven't set that up yet, but I will be rolling that out. So hopefully by the time this video is done, that will be made. If not, then I'll just kind of have like a little applications form that you can jump in. So if that's interesting to you, then go ahead and click the links in the description, however that's set up. And yeah, I will see you guys next video. Thank you guys for all of your support. Thank you for everyone that subscribed and liked the video as well. And I hope you guys have a blessed day. Peace. Oh, I hope it hasn't. Imagine it stopped recording. It's still rolling.